Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Ridiculously Amazing Agent Podcast. Kelly Donahue Piro here, owner and founder of Agency Performance Partners and co founder of Agency Appeal. And I'm super excited to spend this December podcast with you. As you can see, we've had a few changes. The podcast will now just be me, yours truly, and we'll have some fun guests along the way. But on this podcast, we really want to dive in to talk a little bit more about some of the things that are important for your agency to take on in 2020. But first, let's talk a little bit about where Agency Performance Partners will be in this wonderful month of December. December is always such an interesting month because the holidays kind of cut into it. And so, as I tell you where we're going to be, I'm going to give you a big sales tip right now. Your agency really needs to understand in order to hit sales goals, you really have 3 weeks. December is a very short month with the holidays and the way they cut in. So, really put the muscle behind it right now. I think a great sales tip we're giving a lot of agents is to use a strong call to action of let's get this done before the holidays. Remember, Black Friday hits and all these other things, people start spending their money not on insurance. You don't want to be the last bill that they pay. But in the month of December, I have some fun. I'm actually going to be heading to St. John's, Canada to go see our friends at Munn Insurance. If you guys don't know Munn Insurance, they were one of the big Applied Epic Award winners this year. Great agency, about 90 people up in Canada. So for some reason, I'm going from a cold state to a colder area, but I'm really, really looking forward to spending some time on their FX retention and FX sales program. So we get to see you guys all soon. Then turn around and do some fun stuff at Paradiso Insurance, Sava Insurance, both local. And then I get to head out to the West Coast to spend some more time with Cross Insurance. They're also doing our FX and retention and sales program. But then turn around and do a day training with another agency in Seattle. And then head on to Charlotte, as well as launching a new client in Pittsburgh. So really fun kind of type time. Get to spend some time with people before the holidays and get their agencies up and going so that they're hitting 2020 strong, which is exciting. I'm taking some time off during the Christmas and New Year's break, but don't worry, for all you clients out there that are looking to lock in our 2020 pricing, I'll still be available. So if you want to talk about it, let's do that now. We are anticipating a rate increase coming next year. So for anybody who's interested, lock in your 2020 pricing now. With the 2019 rates, as long as you sign an agreement with us before the end of the year, you will get that. And then we're going to double that down. You can use it anytime next year. So if you're not ready, but you want to do something, let's talk. Definitely book a time to chat. Which brings us to our podcast topic today. Our podcast topic is what do we need to be doing right now to get prepped up for 2020? So there's about 5 tips I want to give every agency that I think we need to embrace. And if you're driving and listening to this, there are some show notes so that you can just go back and do it. But, it kind of ties into some of the things that we're doing as well. So the first thing I think every agency really needs to do is it's the cornerstone of the highly successful agencies is we need to be working on our branding. It's amazing how I still go out and speak in front of hundreds of agents, and I just ask the question of, moving to your state. I have 16 insurance policies. Someone tell me why to put my business with you. And there's all these like blank stares. And I think that we really need to embrace the idea of branding so that we can answer that question for our ideal target markets. Your branding is so much more than just a logo, locus, and colors. It's understanding how you serve your target clientele, where you've been, where you're going, and why should someone do business with you? And most importantly, how you should position your agency in front of your target markets. Now, we've actually been in business for 5 years, and I've already updated our brand at least once. So for a lot of people, they say, oh, well, our brand's this, our brand's that. I think you got to dive deeper. Even the major brands out there, Fortune 500 companies refresh their branding on a routine basis. Your branding needs to appeal to that target market. And so if your marketing is taking too long or feels flat and dry, contact us so that we can help you with an agency brand guide. There'll be in the show notes some samples you can take a look at, but really it should be fresh, fun, exciting, something that not only speaks to your target market, but also target team members that you want to attract. Because if they come over and see something kind of dull, you're not going to get the best people on your bus. So that is tip number 1 I want to give everybody on how we're going to go ahead and tackle branding. The next step I think you have to do is you really have to look at, it's 2020. Every agency, I believe, needs to have video capabilities. And let me break this down into what I mean. We do a lot of video calls with staff here at Agency Performance Partners. It's just a great way to save travel money, but also be able to be engaging and feel something along the way. Also, great to read body language. So if some staff is resistant, we can pick up on that lickety split. But for many agencies, we still struggle with the idea of webcams, things like that. We really, really need to do that. They're very inexpensive, especially during the holiday season. So pick up webcams for everybody. If you're in multiple locations, what a great way just to click on and say hello and have a much more impersonal meeting. We also need to embrace the idea that our agencies need to be doing video. So here at APP, we've actually cleaned out our side office room here, and we're investing in putting in a video studio. And I'll walk you through how we did this. We engaged with a video editor. He's a freelancer and he does a great job for us. So he actually researched all the tools we would need. All in total, it's about a $4,000 expenditure between cameras and lighting and all that fun stuff. But he's going to come and set it up for us. So literally, you're going to see an improvement in our video in 2020. It's not uncommon for me to shoot 5 to 6 videos a week. Now having a video studio will give us a lot of flexibility. And I'm really excited about the bloopers reels because when I screw up on video, I really screw up. And we'll make sure to edit out and bleep out the bad stuff. But we'd love to engage with you guys on that. So think about it. Is there a spare room? How can you do video? How can you make it fun, but also simple? I know for me, I want to walk in the studio, I want to hit a button, and that's the end of it. And that's really what we're going to be focused on. So think about your video, what you're strong at. I don't really want my team spending time editing video, nor do I have the time to do that. So we've engaged with a video editor. I think he charges, us 35 bucks an hour or something like that. And this is a great way for you to get your message out and really have your clientele feel something, but also take those next steps of being modern and being in 2020. Another big step that I think every agency needs to embrace is figuring out, stepping back and saying, "Hey, where are the biggest weaknesses in our agency?" And I can tell you that from my perspective, there's usually three that we kind of see. The first one is the lack of processes and procedures in an agency. So if your expectations are not clearly documented, it's very difficult to hold people accountable to them. And our Apex sales retention and time management program really installs that into an agency. So we can't have reshops take 12 days. We can't have new business only get one phone call. And if there's nothing concrete that we can go back to, we struggle. And so that's one of them. The next thing that I think you have to look at your weaknesses is, do we have the best people on the bus? If there's team members we're frustrated with, now's a great time to address it, put it in a performance improvement plan, and determine if they're really going to be on the team in 2020. I see so much time spent with underperformers, and there's really only two things that make a great employee. One, they're teachable, and two, they have a great attitude. So if they're not teachable, we're going to struggle. If they don't have a good attitude, we're going to struggle. In fact, I was just at an agency where we were talking about the need for first call resolution for time management purposes, which I'll get to in a second because it's actually another one of my tips. And I said, "Well, does the team have headsets?" And the agency owner said, "Oh, yes, but they don't want to wear them." And I said, "Well, whose choice is that? I don't think if we work at the American Express call center, we have a choice. The idea that you're going to do this all day does not give you guys a great client experience." And so we really have to dive in to say who's in charge and who do we have. And there's a ton of pushback on this, right? Well, it's hard to find people. It's hard to find people in every industry. It's hard to find someone to be married to that you're in love with, right? Hard does not mean that it's something we should avoid. Hard means it's something we should double down on because it's hard and it is going to take longer. So really dive in, think about, do we have the best people? What are we doing on that front? And how can we fit in? And the other major weakness that we see with agencies is really failure to kind of set goals. Because maybe our numbers aren't right. We think we're too small. No, set any number of goals. We love to see a book growth goal, a retention goal, a sales goal, and a project goal every quarter. So if we have those things and we know that we're moving along in the right direction and not overwhelming people. Another thing that we want to kind of think through and take a look at, because that was strategy number 3, right, is attacking your weaknesses. Strategy number 4 is got to be time management. In my decade of being out on the road and seeing agencies, there's one thing I can guarantee to hear every day of my life. And it's the one thing I'm trying to get rid of in agencies, which is I'm too busy. I'm so busy. I can't get to. And the reality is that we're all pretty poor at time management. I've seen some extraordinary agents be able to accomplish moving mountains by just being good at managing their time. But oftentimes we're touching things too many times. We're disorganized. We don't have clear priorities. So we're sitting here waiting for the day to just kick us in the face to say, I'm too busy. And we also shy away from the things we don't enjoy. This is a common human strategy. I don't think I'm saying anything to anybody that's listening that we haven't thought about in the past, right? Common human strategy. So, one of the things I think that we all need to do is get much, much better at it. We should have email organization. We should have our suspense and activities down pat. Our desk should not be cluttered. We should not be using post it notes and notebooks everywhere. And we need to have a plan for what happens when somebody's out. This is a huge problem. You're out with the flu for 3 days. Nobody's covering the activities, maybe checking the emails. But let me tell you, if you told me you're going to have an answer for me on Tuesday, and just because you're sick, I don't have an answer and I don't hear back till Friday, how do you think I feel about the customer experience at the agency? Terrible. It's absolutely horrendous. When in reality, we should be diving into the person's management system, finding what's due and distributing it so we do not let a client down. When we let a client down, our time gets sucked up so much farther to diffuse an upset client. And that's just ridiculous and so simple to fix. So we need to be making sure that we have good time management strategies. So tip number 4 is addressing this. Now, you can do a couple things with us on this front. One, we have a whole 6-month time management program that we can go eradicate that word busy from your agency. 2, look at our blogs, start spreading them around, but make sure you're enforcing some of those strategies. And 3, we all need to embrace first call resolution. First call resolution means when someone calls in, we're going to complete that activity, including logging the call on that call as much as possible. If someone wants to change a vehicle, there's no reason it can't be processed on that call. If someone wants to make a payment, there's no reason it can't be processed on that call. For 80% of the activities in insurance, we can process it on the call, including new business and reshops. But we have to practice and get good at it. It's not going to come overnight. But embrace time management because you can't take a call while you're on a call. And this is going to help us finish everything without a bunch of lagging tasks and boost our customer experience. The final thing that I think everybody needs to embrace is a training schedule. This is step 5. Employees are every business's biggest expense for the most part. So if your team and your payroll is the biggest expense, how can we dump deposits into them to best empower them to do a great job? That's the biggest question. Coming out next year, we're going to have an on-demand training service where you can sign up for quarterly trainings that are at your own pace and speed. But the most amazing thing is you're going to pick from some great topics. So if cancellations are your issue, you got it. And we're going to take your team through homework, quizzes, videos, and discussions that we can all embrace to get better and better. So if our Apex 6-month programs or agency assessment seems too overwhelming, this is a great place to start. We have our beta testers that'll get it in Q1. In Q2, any client of Agency Performance Partners will be given a great special to sign up so that you can continue the fun even when I'm not able to get to your office. And then the second half of the year, we're going to launch it out to everybody else. So keep your eyes posted. But we want to keep fueling ways for agencies to embrace training because at the end of the day, the best thing that we can do is arm our staff with how to handle the new challenges of the consumers. So those are our 5 steps that you guys can all go and take and embrace. We hope that you take them seriously. Check out our show notes for sure. And, we hope everybody has a great holiday season. It's been such an honor again, being 5 years in business. This is our 5th holiday. Really crazy to think about, but so blessed and grateful. Check out our online store. We've got ridiculously amazing wine glasses, t-shirts. What a great thing for the Secret Santa gift in your office or your favorite insurance agent. And if anybody wants to book some time with us before the end of the year to learn more about what we do, please do. You can book an appointment right on my calendar on our website. So don't be shy. Drop us a note. It's just good to say hello and have a quick get to know you. Anyway, have a wonderful new year. And here's to 2020. Can't believe we're passing another decade. But what a great time to take control of your agency and really do some amazing things. So happy holidays, happy new year, and hope to work with you all in 2020.